Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
What's up, orange men and ladies? Happy, what the hell day is it? Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Syracuse Orange men's soccer team brings home the hardware in the national championship versus Indiana in the first ever College Cup final. That was pretty cool. I came down to the wire of wires. And Syracuse Orange basketball team slowly come to life in an 86-71 win over Monmouth. They improved to 7-4 in the year. You'll hear from us on that. And Syracuse will host the Big Red this Saturday at 3. We'll let you know what we think about Cornell. First, quickly, Syracuse national championships in the men's soccer realm. So join in the likes of, well, we know the big three, right? So women's field hockey, basketball, of course. Well, are we counting the football? Yeah, right. That counts, right?
I mean, it's a long time ago, but
It's a long time ago. What was it? Was it 59? Yeah, I think it was. I have a glass somewhere commemorating the 1959 football championship. But in the modern day, basketball, lacrosse, obviously, men's soccer, women's field hockey, all champions. So cross country, too, was that was the same year. Field hockey, I believe. In 2015. Yeah, and then there was another cross country run a while back before that. So lacrosse holds strong though with the 10. So a lot of trophies being brought to the JMA Dome. And look, I watched more soccer last night than I'd watched in my whole life up to that point combined, which is to say 5 minutes maybe. And, dude, I'm sorry. I'm just, it is what it is.
You're being honest.
So I'm not going to pretend like, I knew what the hell was going on or, watched every game up to that point. But, during the championship, I'm turning it on. I'm going to watch. And I did. And we got to see the dome kind of, I couldn't tell if it was clearing out for the soccer game or what, but there was definitely a good group of people down there watching the big screen behind the curtain. And I believe it synced up with right before intermission ended. So right before the second half started.
Yeah, right before the players were about to go back out. Yep.
Coach Autry had to go on the court and grab players and bring them back to the bench. So maybe that's what sparked that second half of defense, by the way. Maybe they were just concerned about the soccer game and they weren't paying much attention. Who knows?
Yeah, well, it was interesting because this game originally started at 7. They pushed it back to 8 because they wanted the fans to be able to, watch the game. And they even had a little special, I believe, where, if you wanted to go in, pay $10, you'd get in there, watch the soccer match, and then you'd get a ticket to the Monmouth. So, all those guys back there, they got in, for $10, and then they got to go and watch the basketball game after. But I'm pretty sure they wanted it to be a situation where, the game was over before the game started, and that's why they moved it back an hour. But instead, we go into 2 overtimes and then long penalty kicks, and the next thing you know, we won during halftime. And that's what I thought was kind of cool about it, was because, the announcers are talking about the game during halftime, and you're just hearing the fans in the background every time we get a penalty kick just going nuts. And it's like, so it was like in time, it was kind of cool, and then everybody in the stadium was watching, and when they finally won, then everybody erupted, and it was a cool little thing. The players got to see it, and like you said, I mean, the players got to see their peers win a national championship. If that doesn't fire you up, I mean, I mean, there's certain people that have their own opinions about soccer, but you're at a college, you're friends with athletes from other, sports and things like
absolutely.
that. You see each other a lot. And so they're peers. I'm sure that they have friends on the team. So I'm sure that fired them up too.
Yeah, a lot of former Syracuse athletes getting on Twitter, making the rounds. So it was cool. It was interesting. It killed fan feedback. Which is look, I get it. It's totally acceptable. It was Monmouth and Syracuse men's soccer won a natty, so I get it. But there isn't any fan feedback tonight. There is some, but I don't know. It's not worth bringing to the table. Your brother's comment was actually quite funny, though. He's did you see it on Facebook?
No. No, I didn't.
Do you want to?
Sure.
Hold on. Let's so anyways, Joe, we do have some moves in football. It's like too much, man. It's somehow, some way there has to be I'm all for a lot of this stuff. I'm definitely for the one-time transfer thing. I am, because I feel like it's a happy medium for being able to transfer one time to, have to stay put or have to sit out a year, right? So it's kind of like the choice you make. And I think that there's weight to that choice now, being the fact that, a lot of times people didn't transfer because they have to sit for a year. And with this, I think it's fair. You get to do it once before you have to sit. But some kind of regulation or something from the NCAA looks so foolish in a lot of this stuff, because it just looks so sloppy and like, I don't know, unorganized and just quite a mess from a somewhat outsider perspective. And I just feel like some kind of regulations have to go in. Our bowl game is getting, for me, it's exciting to be in a bowl game regardless, but it's losing some of the wind beneath the wings, a little bit, just in the fact that, we heard Deuce Chestnut, he's going to enter the transfer portal. If you didn't hear about that, just maybe an hour or two ago, and it's a blow, but you know what? I'm fine with it. I'm going to stand by what I said and what I always say, and is that if you play for the Orange, you play for the Orange, and if you don't, you don't. I'm not going to stress about it. They'll figure it out. We got some decent transfers coming in. Jaden Gold, transfer from Nebraska, Joe. Braylon Ingraham, former 4-star recruit, ended up going to Alabama. Had a lot of good offers, right? 6'4", 300 pounds. We talked about Joe Moore, and there was another one. It's escaping me right now, but. So there's a lot of people in the portal. Like, you can benefit from the portal, but you also get hammered by the portal. And I don't think Deuce will be it. And I don't know what kind of big names are to come, but there's also more people to come in. So I don't know what this thing looks like by the time we get to a bowl game. And I'm all for, the NIL stuff and things like that. And I don't know how much of a role it plays in this. I'm sure it plays some of it, right? But as far as the portal goes, though, there's got to be something. I feel like just just frustration with it. It's really kind of it's really kind of confusing to follow and just frustrating to watch everything unravel. Syracuse fans, we want a bowl game. We get a bowl game. And these players that are staying, they work so hard to get there. And there's so many of them that want to get in this bowl game and they want to win. And it's just like, just these other distractions, just I can't imagine what it's like. Now, they're obviously more professional than me. I mean, it's going to bother me a little bit more than it'll bother them. But still, a distraction, in my opinion. It's going to be tough to focus, I think. We're playing in, 2 weeks? Just about? Yeah. 2 weeks, almost exactly. So, I don't know, Joe. What do you think? I'm just kind of venting here because it's kind of a frustrating.
It's completely understandable, and I think that because of the transfer portal and with this, everyone getting an extra year because of COVID and all that stuff, I think that it's kind of taking accountability away from the kids a little bit, and allowing them to free range, make their own decisions. But I think in time, what you're going to see is the players kind of catch up to the nuances of what this really means. I think too many times you're getting these players that are coming in as true freshmen, and if they don't get it the way that they want it exactly after just 1 year,
they're almost like we've talked about the entitlement
portal, right?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
At the end of the day, what happens is you just lost your free transfer. So now you didn't really give that one school a chance, and after 1 year not getting it your way or maybe not playing as much as possible, now you just gave up your free, kind of get out of jail free card.
Right.
Now what happens if you mess up the next pick? Now you're going to have to sit next time, right? So I think that eventually it'll end up being a situation where kids will end up staying at a place for at least 2 years to kind of feel it out and make sure that it's definitely not the place for them. And obviously there's going to be some 1 year guys. I mean, look, there's 85 scholarships on a team with all these teams, on top of the fact that you're going to have D1 AA guys and stuff transferring up, graduate seniors transferring up to try to play more competitively. So you're going to see those things. And not everyone's going to have a spot. You have to remember, you go to the transfer portal, it doesn't mean, depending on how your exit interview and how your talks with the coaches went, it doesn't mean that you can't come back. We see Chad Schuster, true freshman offensive line. He went in. Who knows if he's going to see anything, if they said, hey, I'm just going to throw it out there and see. I mean, you can always come back. But, we lost Jeremiah Wilson and we lost Deuce Chestnut, 2 corners. With Tony White leaving, I said that this was going to happen. I didn't think that there was going to be too many offensive guys to transfer. But Tony White has been here for 3 years and has, some of these guys came here for him. This Jaden Gould he was a 4-star corner out of the transfer portal from Nebraska. Well, that's where Tony White went.
Yeah,
so
a little odd, huh?
So if Nebraska's losing corners, and then we have 2 corners that goes in, I mean...
someone knows something that we haven't heard out loud, right?
Right. So, that's kind of what it looks like, right? But either way, it's a situation where I'm sure there's going to be some guys that go to Nebraska because of Tony White and everything like that. So we knew there's going to be turnover on the defensive end, but we get this other corner that comes in, and then, see what happens with this transfer defensive lineman from Alabama. That's... The bad thing is that, you can lose guys. The good thing is that you can gain guys. There's, the portal with 1,300 players in it. You can have a chance to go and get some experienced guy handpicked to come in and help your team.
It's a little bit odd, and this isn't a dig to Syracuse or anything like that. But if you're a young player on a Syracuse team and you're not getting any burn and you're frustrated, and you enter the transfer portal, where are you going? It's different. It's something said to be a little bit different for like Braylon Ingraham, right? Who is coming from Alabama, had offers from Clemson, Texas, and all these other places. But I don't know. I just feel like there's a huge difference between that and then leaving Syracuse. Now, I'm not talking about Deuce. Okay, obviously, I think we know the deal with that.
No, him and Jeremiah Wilson, I think, there's probably a good chance that they're going to go follow Tony White.
Right. So, but some of these younger guys who really you just don't see, I'm not talking about guys that actually get playing time and have made, a name for themselves and been in the spotlight in names that people know. But some of these younger guys, it just, I don't know, where are you going? It's fine. I don't even care. I don't even mind about some of the younger guys. Obviously, I don't think it's that big of a hit, but like just the mentality that everything has got to be now all the time, I feel like is just, I deal with it. I deal with it at work. I think many of us deal with it with our kids. I just, it is just evolved into this, what have you done for me lately in type of attitude, and there's just no patience. And all of the patience has left the building. It's like, you could be a really good football player if you just wait. This is how it's been. To just say, you know what, I can't put my time in. I got to get, take people at work, just for example. I'm not saying this is a realist. This isn't like a life experience, but people come and they've been working for you for 3 months and like, well, I want a raise. Well, what the hell are you talking about? You've been here for 3 months. You haven't done anything yet. You know what I'm saying? So,
So
I
it's
don't
ones
know.
that have been there for 5-6 months that think that they should be running the show.
Yes. Yeah. It's like this instant gratification mentality. I didn't grow up like that. You didn't grow up like that. It just seems like you said is a great point when you opened. You talked about, basically instant gratification. But what did you say? What did you say exactly?
No, I said, it kind of takes accountability away from the kids.
Yes,
and
thank you.
It makes it a lot easier for them to just,
right.
when they don't get their way, they go somewhere else and they don't even have to wait.
It's accountability. That's yes, that's what you said. And that's a good point because
that's a lack of that in the world.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's draining to me, as a sports fan. And as a sports fan that likes to do this show and enjoy talking about it, it's draining. It's like, oh my gosh, I just dragged my ass over to this microphone and peeled myself up to talk about it. So,
and sometimes too, you get like the chats. Like sometimes you get some guys, and we've seen it before, that they come in and they realize they're in over their head, right? And they end up transferring to a lower level school, right? There's also those type of options too. We don't really know.
Yeah. Well, I think most of them, that's where they'll end up, and it's probably better for them. But who knows what could have been had they just put the time in, improved themselves. That's my point.
Oh, well, that's where it's going to be anyway, right? At the end of the day, most of these kids, they're going to be in school from 3 to 5 years before they're good enough to go to the NFL, and you're going to have to put in that work in those 3 to 5 years, no matter what school you go to.
Yeah. So.
Now, I know there's got to be a fit. Certain players fit in different schemes and different things better, and they have fits with coaches and everything. I get that, but a lot of this stuff is just up to them putting in the work. Work
and time, man. Tenure comes. It's just not instantaneous. It's not like a Deuce Chestnut type situation with a lot of people, or there's plenty of them out there. But I hate it for the team. This gives other people opportunities, though, and that's always good. And when, we played West Virginia in the bowl, we got to show off some new guys that became eligible. And in a different type of situation, we have a same type of scenario. So you get to, you know what I'm saying? So you get to see some guys see if they can shine, in the big lights and during a bowl game. And I'm going to be rooting for them. And, of course, obviously everybody that leaves, we all wish them well. There's no ill will here at all.
No, absolutely not.
That's not where I'm going at all. I think it's an NCAA problem, not a player problem, because the players have to play by the NCAA rules, and that's all.
Well, they can play by the NCAA rules, right?
Well, right, and that's what they're doing.
They're the best rules.
Exactly, and it's kind of what I'm saying. I like the idea of this. I think it's like feeding it after midnight, though. We just fed the transfer portal after midnight.
But you know what, though? As soon as the NCAA steps in and tries to save the kids from themselves, right, then it's going to be overstepping their stuff anyway, right? So at the end of the day, it's just a different type of world.
It'll weed itself out, right? And isn't that what we're waiting for?
I think it'll eventually weed itself out. It's just, we have to allow it the time to fail. And I don't think it's been around long enough to fail.
I know.
Between the NIL and between the transfer portal stuff, there's going to come a time where, shit's going to hit the fan. No. So, and something's going to need to happen. But going back to the bowl game and getting away from that, from that talk, I can see where you're coming from as a fan, but I look at it like, if you're talking about 6-6, 7-5, you're not going to be playing for, double-digit wins. You're not playing a great bowl game, right? So, you want to get the bowl game. But I always look at it. Yeah, you want to try to win too, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of that is just the extra practices and allowing other players to come in, right? So, Deuce and Jeremiah, by them going to the transfer portal, I'm probably going to be willing to bet that they're not going to play in the bowl game, and that's just going to allow other players to step up.
I don't think they can.
I don't know if there's a rule in that or not.
I don't think they can. But I could be wrong. It makes no sense.
I look at it like this. If I'm a coach and you're telling me that you're going to the transfer portal and I have a chance to put in some of my younger guys to grow.
Good luck.
Whether we win or not, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not going to play you. You're going to take minutes away. You're telling me you're going to leave, but you want to play the bowl game. You want your cake and eat it too. That's not going to happen. So to me, getting this bowl game was the practices and, getting the guys in there and getting the younger guys and people in there that have been waiting, chomping at the bit, guys that can still redshirt and still play in this game and it not have it affect your eligibility. And so with those two guys out, it's going to be interesting. I imagine Isaiah Johnson's going to start at one of the corners, and it's going to be interesting to see who else steps up as opposite corner for the bowl game. Now, when you look into next year, Isaiah Johnson, he stepped up. You give him one more year of growth, and then you add this.
Decent.
Yeah, and then you add this Jaden Gold. He's a big corner. He's 6'2". So, those guys, there's your starting corners, depending on if we get more, and we already had a little bit of depth there to begin with.
Let's, real quick, because I don't have it in front of me, and I'm sure you probably do, because I see you looking at your screen. Jaden Gold and Braylon Ingraham, how many years of eligibility do each of those guys have left? I believe they were both 3. Were they not? Am I wrong?
Jaden Gold has 4 years eligibility.
Okay, all right, okay. What about Ingraham?
But I think Ingraham, he played for 4 years and didn't get a lot of burn. And the thing that it kind of, kills me a little bit with it. So he was a class of 2019. Yeah. So I think he's only got one more.
I think 2 then.
Great.
It would be 2 with the COVID year, I believe.
Yeah. Well, he's a grad transfer nonetheless, but this guy, he kind of makes me a little nervous because you see him coming from Alabama. And he came from St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida, big high school. But he was actually, he didn't play last year. He was retired from Alabama. Alabama did not let him medically play. But he got passed or, whatever by some doctors, went in the transfer portal and, we're taking a chance on him. I don't know exactly what the injury is, but usually stuff like this is concussion stuff, some of the stuff that Tyler went through and many, many players before and after him have. So I don't know if that's the exact situation, but it's something like that. And it was something like that with Alabama. So it's not like we're getting, a fresh guy.
Obviously, yeah.
I'm not saying that he's going to, now who knows, you roll the dice and if he stays healthy, then, that's fine. But he played 4 years.
Can't hurt to try.
Right, exactly. We're giving him a chance, and if it works out, then it works out. So I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. It's just, this guy's coming with a little bit of risk, but I think that the reward is huge if it works out. So I think that it's, give him 1 year and then we'll see, rolling the dice, giving him a chance.
All right.
Letting him bet on himself,
We will see. We'll keep everybody updated as we can on the football stuff. And it's just a whirlwind. Expect more. Expect more good. Expect more bad. And we'll be here to talk about it with you Sunday. But until then, let's talk Monmouth. And then we'll get into some Cornell. First, let's hear what Coach had to say following the win.
I'd like to obviously congratulate the soccer team. What a great win for those guys. Really proud to watch that. As far as our game, we didn't want to play tonight. Our forwards have not wanted to play this year. And if they don't want to play, we're not going to be very successful. Judah and Joe did all they could to try to keep us ahead and try to win the game. But Jesse's going to get muscle like this. He still has trouble with teams that are physical and push him out, and that's what happened. But we have 2 or 3 little rotations on defense, and Chris got caught 3 times for layups. Again, played 12 minutes, had good position to get 2 or 3 rebounds, and didn't. It's not so much he didn't get them, but he didn't try. And I don't know what he can do. Malik, I thought he's not quite ready, but he gets around the basket and he's physical. But you have to understand, we're going to be playing teams that are 6'8" or 9, not 6'2" or 3, and we can't stop these guys. In the first half, we played no defense. Jesse was just trying to stay, I don't know what, but the second half, for about the first 16 minutes, I think they had 19 points versus 41 in the first half. And our offense was a little better. But, we're not winning playing basketball like this. I think Notre Dame and Georgetown are not physical teams, and I think we're better against that. But this team was physical. They were we're physical with our inside players, and we weren't able to deal with that. Benny was there 2 or 3 times and didn't get the rebound against a 6'5" guy. So there's going to be a 6'10" guy over there once we get going in the league. So, again, Chris had 0 rebounds, which is nothing new. And, I can't play somebody that can't get a rebound in a game. I just can't do it. It's just we can't win that way. So we're going to have to think about that, see what we're going to do going forward.
Coach, you mentioned guys not ready. What do you mean by that?
What's that?
What do you mean that Malik's not ready? You mentioned that.
Well, he's still learning the defense. Offensively, he's not a really good passer. He doesn't shoot. He's a low post player. When Benny's at the 4, we get a shooting weapon too. Besides, so different.
Do you think Malik can develop into an everyday player, and that goes for jump?
Yeah, it's going to take some time. He's a really good inside player. Normal freshman, not quite ready, but that's Hakeem Warwick, and his stats are better than Hakeem's Warwick as a freshman. Well, before the season, I thought Judah and Joe would be fine. They are. I thought Jesse would be good in the middle. I was worried about the other positions, and I'm still out.
Jack Collins went off in the first half.
I can't hear you. You guys got to speak up. I'm old.
Jack Collins, 3-point shooting in the first half from Monmouth. How'd you guys?
Yeah, he's the one guy that can really shoot it, and we left him open. I thought that was smart.
What would you say about Syracuse's performance on the line today, foul line?
I don't really even think about that. That's the last thing I think about.
Contributing to almost 20 points.
I don't really think about that. They go to the line, if they make them, they make them. If they miss, I can't do anything about that. I can do something about the other stuff.
Coach, is there a thought of changing up the starting lineup with Chris Bell not getting it done rebounding-wise?
I think about a lot of things. Mostly I'm thinking about getting some food, so we'll see you Saturday.
A late dinner for Coach after the game, and also nothing quite puts a little pep in my step and cheers me up as much as a Jim Boeheim press conference. And I don't know what else to say because, man,
Great.
It's electric.
They're great.
Golly, they're great.
And
that's what people hate, by the way. Some people hate that. And I think people who hate that I like it. And I'm not talking about anybody listening, maybe, but like my friends. They hate that I like that.
You have to get over the fact that he is using that to basically motivate his team, and he over-exaggerates a lot when it comes to that stuff.
That's if you've
and
noticed.
He trolls.
Yes,
so
he trolls. He's throwing shade. He trolls.
Great.
By the way, I will. If he shoots a number out there, I always fact check it, and I've corrected him. Have I not, Joe? Have you ever caught me doing that?
I'm just saying, but
because he does, he exaggerates, but it's gold. It's press conference gold, guys. I don't know what else to say about it.
And realistically, too,
it's Mike Gundy. I'm 40.
This is no offense to the Syracuse media in particular. It's just media overall. I mean, he pretty much treats the media or takes the media about as serious as you should.
Exactly.
And
that's facts. Yeah. For sure.
It is.
And people just...
He's
poor
just
Donna,
there so he don't get fined.
Yeah, poor Donna. She's just... Every time she has something, I swear, he's so irritated. It's terrible. Okay. So, look. To say it was a slow start again is an understatement, right? So, I think... And my wife's like, why are you so calm? I'm like, this is not going to last. It's not going to last. I really felt like it wasn't going to last until it really started to last. Okay? And then I'm like, okay, well, let's see how the second half goes. And then they start playing some defense in the second half. It was way more active. You come in, you underestimate a team, you take for granted that you're playing a team that you're supposed to just demolish. They're 1-9 coming into your place, right? And they have like they beat Manhattan at home, for crying out loud, and got creamed the rest of the games they played. And you come in and you play with a little bit of arrogance, and you end up sloppy. And it's sloppy on offense, and it was sloppy on defense. And once they got a little bit more active and they played better defense, quite frankly, and I mean, thank God for Judah Mintz, who was electric. And then we're going at these guys, especially second part of the last quarter of the game, going at these guys. 26 fouls on Monmouth. Syracuse got to the line 28 times. We'll get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But, Joe, we just heard Coach say, though, in the last Coach montage, that Jesse doesn't struggle. But he mentioned the physicality, okay? I don't know if it was... I didn't see him, like, really struggling too much. As just not ready to play. It was like the whole team, I felt like, Joe. And... when you look at Chris Bell, and I feel terrible for Chris Bell because, I mean, I like the guy. I was big on the guy. I was excited about watching this guy. But if you don't grab a rebound, if you don't get in the box score with some rebounds, bro, you've got to be doing something more than 6 points. I mean, I know he only got 12 minutes, but nothing, bro?
Yeah, I know. I just don't. I mean, like I said, he's given them the longest leash that I've seen in quite some time, and we knew that not all these guys are going to be able to play, and they're trying to find their guys, and he's trying. I mean, Taylor only had two minutes, so he couldn't build off his big game. And Chris Bell only had 12, and then you see the two other than Benny Williams.
But it's because of his effort though, and the ones he missed. I mean,
no, it's effort. Yeah, if you can't,
yeah, that's why he got 12.
It's all effort.
Yeah. So,
like, we've seen this. It's going back to, like, we have depth. We have different types of players that are trying to figure out their roles and their confidence. And we've seen these type of teams in the past where Boeheim, if you don't put in the effort, doesn't care if you're missing shots. If you don't put in the effort on defense and getting rebounds and that type of stuff, then you're not going to play. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and guess. I've sat here and tried to guess, right? Because we had the Oakland game and Malik Brown played well, and I thought he was going to play last game, and he didn't, and then he came back in. So I mean, we'll get to that, but I don't know how much longer. And I know that someone else alluded to it. I don't know how much longer you can start Chris Bell.
Unfortunately, I think that's where we're at, and Malik Brown is next here on my list. I felt like him coming in has helped when he's been in there. I feel like he's helped. He's contributed more and has been more of an asset than a Bell.
Understatement.
Benny has not... Let's just say Benny's gotten better, Bell has not. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay. So, I think I saw a lot. First of all, in Benny's 24 minutes, I saw a lot out of him yesterday. And the scoring was good, and he got to the free throw line. But he did have 5 rebounds. It's getting better. I feel like he's getting more comfortable. He's doing better on defense. They moved him to the 3, put Malik at the 4, and then we've got, he ends up with 24 minutes, 11 points, okay, 5 for 8 from the floor. And he got to the foul line, missed a couple, but 7 rebounds.
7 rebounds.
And that's where you need him to be, is the 7 rebound area, right? He's not...
That's exactly what I'm looking at. Yep.
Yeah. He's not a guy that's going to take a ton of shots, but if he can be in there and be that body in there, grabbing rebounds, I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I think, dude, it's not going to be too much longer before we see him getting more minutes come, conference play. And he was your guy, so whenever he's on the court, I always think of you because you kind of you were a big fan of his, and you said he was going to be a sleeper, and that's exactly what he's been doing. And slowly, he's starting to get the recognition and the playtime I think that he's probably capable of and can build off of, for the rest of the year. So once he knows his role a little bit more and he's a little bit more comfortable, I think he's going to be an excellent player this year.
Well, I think with him where he came from as far as his competition level in high school, I think that it was going to take a little bit longer for it to slow down for him. But even back when he was coming in and we talked about it, and I talked about him being my sleeper. He just always he does the little things. He doesn't chirp. You see him dunk the ball and he runs right back down.
Gritty.
He's scrappy.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's got the length and the size that you want from a power forward. He comes in, gets 7 rebounds. That's the most rebounds I think a forward has had this year. And he came right in, and and it was immediate. As soon as he came in, it was immediate. He got a dunk, he got a layup. He's around the basket. He's active. Now, is he going to miss some rotations? Yeah. Is he not a good jump shooter? No, he's not. But you see him moving without the ball. You saw Judah Mintz hit him with a pass when he cut to the basket when his defender wasn't looking at him. So yeah, is he raw? Is there still some things ways to go? Yeah, he's got ways to go to be like a really good player. But I don't know how much. I don't know how much farther away he needs to be to find himself carve out a role. If not starting, at least first forward off the bench.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's put this into perspective a little bit. In 90 minutes of play for Chris Bell, he's got 27 rebounds. For 216 minutes of play, for 90 minutes of play for Malik Brown, he's got 27 rebounds. For 216 minutes of play for Malik Brown, he's got 12.
Yeah.
It goes, that's, not saying Bell doesn't have, look, coach is right there. There's something about Chris Bell that coach likes that he hasn't shown us on the court, I guess
it's the 2 for 2 for 3-pointers that he had.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So he's a shooter. Yeah. He's a shooter. So
we need another offensive weapon out in the perimeter, and he's set up to be able to be that guy that just sits out there. We've seen him just waiting. He finds the open spot, gives open shots, and he's missed open shots. Last night he hit 2 for 2, but he was so bad on defense in the boards that he had to take him out.
Yeah.
And then Malik Brown comes in and does what he does. How do you take that out?
I know.
And Benny caught fire. There was a point when
Benny had a couple putbacks off of rebounds. Yeah.
He had a 3 and got fouled and got a 4-point play. Like at one point he had like.
By the way, that sparked an 8-0 run for Syracuse in that play. The game was still close. He hits that, goes down, hits the free throw, sparks an 8-0 run. I think not too long after that, a little bit back and forth, but then there was another like 7 or 8-0 run after that. And by then, the game was done. That was kind of the turning point in the game, Benny getting fouled like that. And by the way, like I said, 26 fouls for Monmouth. They were just, Syracuse just started taking it to them. And, Judah Mintz, man, he wasn't in the montage much, but 36 minutes, 24 points, 11 for 12 from the line. He had 5 assists. That's,
4 steals.
4 steals, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, just, he was Ken Palm's MVP. It just...
Of course.
Just watching him get better and better. I do believe Benny's getting better. Hence the lack of hazing from coach in the presser. He obviously thinks he's getting better. Better too.
He was going back and forth all year, right? But it almost was like, to me, he got pulled. He didn't even start coming out of the second half, and then I think something switched. I don't know exactly what it was, but you just saw his confidence switch. he ended up with five rebounds. He was very active, and his effort was out there on defense. And he was shooting. He went well. 1 from 1 from the 3-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 5 of 10 overall from field goal. That's an efficient night.
It is.
So
yeah. Look. So here's my thing. I don't know what this team looks like. Couple things. I don't know what this team looks like going into conference play, but I can tell you that starting games like they did versus Monmouth is not going to be. That's not going to get you the W's. I mean, Coach knows this. He's trying desperately to get this team prepared to play in conference games. But you look at a guy.
It's the defense.
Yeah, but I know. I mean, I get it. But you look at a guy like, to your point, you look at a guy like Jack Collins, okay? This kid, he scored 20. That was his season high. You know, it's someone who can hit and gets hot on the zone and play teams that can play well in the zone. Like Coach was saying, it wasn't in the montage, but he mentioned it. I mean, those guys are going to be tough. And, you know, sometimes they go cold, like a Jack Collins. Or sometimes the defense picks up, you know, like we've seen them do a couple times this year. But you get too far behind and, you know, we're shooting. Let's see, what did we shoot yesterday? First of all,
it was good though. That was my thing. Is that's what I'm trying to say about like Boeheim's talking about. We can't play like that. Look, they won the rebounding. They took 28 free throws to the other team's 10 and scored 22 points from the line.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to always get to the line like that though. But yeah,
no. But I'm saying when you have this type of line, when you win in rebounds, when you win in turnovers, and then you shoot 22 of 28 from the free throw line. You shoot 51% overall and
damn
53
near, damn near
53.3% from 3-point line. Like when you shoot those percentages and score 86 points, you absolutely should win.
Yeah,
almost every single time. It's the defense.
Right.
It's holding the other team. Offensively, in those stats, not turning the ball over as much as the other team, getting into the free throw line, shooting over 50%, and then winning the rebound battle. That should set you up for a W every single day.
Yeah, that's
almost every single game.
That's 1 in 10 Monmouth. And I get it. I totally get what you're saying.
I mean,
I totally get what you're saying.
I'm just talking about the percentages. But I
understand, but
that's what I'm talking about the defense-wise.
Okay.
Because they should have been in the 50s.
Well,
it should have been.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that, and maybe that's what Jim's alluding to about playing like that, but offensively and winning the turnover and rebounding and free throw and shooting over 50%, offensively, if you keep those percentages, then you should win almost every single game. To me, it's the defense. Defense allowed them to start fast and stay in the game. And even at the end, when they thought they had the game wrapped up, you know, they made a little run to make it a little scary.
Yeah, Syracuse was just not keeping tempo. And like I talked about in the last show, I think Syracuse needs to set the tempo, and they didn't. Monmouth set the tempo. And Syracuse was playing from behind, and it got down quick early, and you know it just became sloppy. And it's just, I mean, that's just typically what's going to happen. That happens to any team, by the way. You get down, you know, they don't set. You let the other team set the pace. You get down. You make mistakes. You're trying to do too much. In this particular case, I think that they underestimated Monmouth, and they came out a little lazy and overconfident, and they got punched in the mouth. But they got back up. They gathered their shit, and they went and fought for the rest of the game, and they won.
Took care of business. What do you think about Jesse's game?
I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't one of his best, but I mean, the guy does double-double. It's like a double-double machine, regardless of, you know, Jesse didn't have a great game. Well, he had another double-double. I mean, what's that, 5-6 on the year? He played almost the whole game. 10 rebounds, right? 3 of 7. 6 for 9 from the free throw line, and he had 3 blocks.
And 4
steals. I mean, I'm happy on the blocks. The blocks.
I mean, I'll take that all day long.
I'll take it too. But when you're putting Jesse into perspective, that's a moderate day for Jesse. You know what I'm saying? As far on the point end, I guess it's just the points though, really. But when Jesse scores a lot, we also win. You know what I mean? So you know you're having a good day too if he's in the high teens, 20s, and you're not going to get it every game. But you know, 3 blocks, 4 steals is huge, and the rebounds obviously. And he's not. I didn't notice him really getting. I could be wrong because whatever, but it's Coach. I didn't notice him like really getting out physicaled that much.
It's like this, right? It's the way that the other team plays defense to not allow him to get to his spots. So if you noticed, he was
a
little bit farther
swim
out
move.
than normal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Didn't have the positions, and then when he tried to do something on the ball, someone would come over and help. It's just a different way of guarding him, and some players are better at it than others, and
with
I
that
think that's
said,
really
he only had 2 fouls.
yeah.
So,
Really
good. But we talk about, real quick to wrap this up, talk about the percentages in the game, Joe. And Syracuse has been killing it from the line for the year. 138 out of 187. So that's a ton of free throws already in 11 games.
Dude, that's winning basketball, though.
Yeah, it is.
And
that's
like
old school Syracuse. Yeah.
Judas figuring it out, man.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's on the
He's-
floor all the time, though. But they even probably missed a
makes me
couple
nervous.
fouls. Yeah, they probably even missed a couple fouls, by the way. But he's on the floor a lot.
All I know is that man knows how to land.
How about Benny's land? That could have been bad.
Yeah.
That could have been bad. He landed. I mean, he could have. Remember,
Looked
Jesse?
awkward, but he bounced straight up.
Jesse injured his wrist like falling like that last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, no, he looked good. He had a little bit of cushion underneath him. So they're good for 74% on the year as a team. Mintz is at 78. Okay, so him and Joe's at 81. They're your team leaders. Bell even is at 75%. Jesse and Benny both at 70.
A couple.
Huh? Yeah, I know.
Bell's only shot a couple.
I know, but that's through 11 games, and you gotta, like you said, look at that. I mean, that's good. That's good basketball right there. Getting to the line that many times and taking that many free shots. 138 free points, okay, from the line. That's excellent. If they can keep that up, that's the game plan. And I think when you couple that with the amount of threes taken, and let's see, Joe took 10 of them, 15. So that's good. That's a good ratio. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So
compared to what it was last year, no, they're not. They're learning what their offense needs to be, like I was saying. And some of that is just getting to the line, being physical, attacking, playing through Jesse. And, you look at the 3-pointers yesterday. Bell was 2 for 2, Benny Williams 1 for 1, Mintz 1 for 2, and Joe was 4 for 10, and I'll take that.
Yeah, I will too. I think it's good. It's a good balance on offense, and you're putting a lot of people in foul trouble. They had two DQs. Monmouth did on the foul line. So, could put a lot of teams in bad spots. All right, changing the starting lineup, Joe. We hit on it. I do have it down here, but yeah, I think before long we're gonna not only do I feel like could be a little bit late. See, I don't ever want to be dramatic about it, and I don't want to put anybody out there.
Well, and to what we always say too. I mean, Chris Bell started, but he had 12 minutes.
Right,
and John
exactly.
Bull had 15, and Malik Brown had 24. So, they can continue to start Chris Bell.
I think Chris Bell has a role. I'm not sure if that's it. I think he can. He's like we said. He's a shooter. He likes to shoot. But he's gonna have to do a little bit more if he wants to stay on the court. So, I think Boeheim's envisioned this roster and what it could be with some of these players, and he's trying to get them up to par because I think, you look at like a John Bull or a Malik Brown. I mean, they weren't his first choices, but when it comes to effort and height and rebounding and knowing how to play defense and all that stuff and not taking too many bad shots, then they've been the better option to win some of these games in the non-conference in early season. But to get where we want to be and maximize the ceiling of this team, then a Chris Bell or a Justin Taylor has to step up and take that spot. Otherwise, we're going to have to to do what he keeps doing. And, even if it's giving him a chance, and then if it doesn't work out, bring in the guys that, might have a, not as high a ceiling, but they have a solid floor that, they're going to go in and do the right stuff and do the little dirty stuff that, John Bull, and I don't mean dirty as far as a dirty player, but you know what I mean? Like the blue collar, hard working. Gritty, grimy, old school basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. With that said, let's take a leap forward here and jump into Saturday's game. We'll wrap it up with this. The all-time series between the Orange and Cornell sits at 94-31 in favor of Syracuse. Orange are currently on a 41-game win streak that dates all the way back to December 10th, 1969. The Syracuse Orange and Cornell Big Red basketball series goes back to the first season of Orange varsity basketball. They played the second game Syracuse ever played, and the Orangemen beat Cornell 18-15 for the first win in Syracuse basketball history. The Orangemen won the first 3 games of the series, according to orangehoops.org, that does the dirty work. Syracuse took the matchup last year 80-68. Gerard, Buddy, Edwards, Swider, and Jimmy are starting 5. Buddy with 22 and Swider with 21. Currently, Cornell sits at 7-2, only losing to 2 ACC teams: Boston College 79-77, and Miami 107-105, and that was not overtime. Goodness gracious! So they do. They're, what are they? What did I say they were? 7-2. They're 7 wins. You look through here. There's not Monmouth 81-63, but there's not a lot of impressive wins on here. But the losses are, if there's an impressive loss, both of these 2 ACC games, I feel like losing by 2 in each of these shows something. So I don't know. They worry me a tiny bit. I don't know. I just, it's hard to tell. It's so early in the season. That's what's screwy about these games. But they're led by Greg Dolan in points per game with 14, and he also leads in assists with 4. Sean Hansen leads in rebounds with just about 5.5 a game. As a team, the Big Red are shooting 50% from the floor, 37% from 3, and 68% from the free throw line, Joe. So I didn't see any huge overpowering bodies. I could be wrong, but that's the one thing I feel like we have in our favor, that, and just I think we have better athletes. But this is a Cornell team that I feel like could be dangerous for some, and dangerous for maybe even SU. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, when you look at the big guys, Sean Hansen's a 6'9", 220-pound junior. And they got a couple guys 6'7", 6'8". But to me, this is a interesting game just because Cornell, it looks to me like they like to, play with some tempo, try to change it up a little bit. Obviously, with you look at some of the scores of their games, Yeah. But I think that our 2-3 zone is going to be able to slow them down a little bit, make them work a little bit more for offense. But the one thing too is this is a team that they constantly sub. You look at the majority of their games; they have at least 8 guys in double-digit minutes. The last 2 games, they've had 9 guys that have played double-digit minutes. So, I think they get it. They go out there and they try to pressure and keep the tempo, and it's going to be interesting to see. They shoot 32 threes a game. That's really going to be the other thing. So,
yeah, and 37% out of that many is not terrible, but
no.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points. That's the problem. So,
when you look at their box scores, the stats are spread all over the place. The shots are spread all over the place. It doesn't look, they're not a team where they have a main guy that dominates that type of play or type of situations. They pass it around, and whoever's open or gets the open shot, they take it. So, they're 4 points away from being undefeated, or 5 or 6 points away, whatever, from being undefeated.
6 got to be right.
Yeah. So, that's impressive to go on the road at Boston College and at Miami and only, lose by 2 points each.
Yeah.
But to your point,
the
rest of their schedule hasn't been that great either. So
that's why it's hard to decipher on the W's. It was just too much for me to dig into.
All I know is that we cannot have a situation where we lose to Cornell and Colgate in the same year. So that just can't happen.
Oh my gosh.
So hopefully, we can take some momentum from the last 2 games, second half of the last game, and the Syracuse men's soccer championship, and maybe these guys will get on the snide a little bit and maybe get a fast start. This isn't a team that I really want to have a slow start with because
if
they can hit threes.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. And it's not just one particular person. So, I think that if we can slow it down, play our game, then I think we can get it to a point to where, if they're not hitting threes, then we could probably blow them out. But we have to make sure that we start early and often and play defense early and often. Don't let them, get easy shots. And, I would feed Jesse. This would be a Jesse game all over again. And, yeah.
Yeah. Well, food for thought. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the size, the Sean Hansen, he's what, 6'9", something like that. Anyway, just food for thought on this, Joe. An early look at the net rankings has Cornell at 103rd and Syracuse at 165. So I don't know. It's that's a big discrepancy. And
the problem with the net rankings is that they put a lot into your wins. And as the season goes on and the wins start to balance out a little bit, then it gets a little bit closer. So because they're 7-2 and we have the record that we have,
it doesn't factor in though, like who you're playing?
It factors in a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I understand what you're saying about.
But if it factors in who they played, then we have a tougher schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like that I understand what you're saying, that it will even out like throughout the year, obviously. But with that said, that's still a huge discrepancy. It does account for all that stuff. But the problem is that it's early. That's what you're saying. So, but
yeah.
With that said, I mean, still. So my point is that watch them just come out and dominate, and that's fine. But I'm talking about Syracuse. But this Cornell team, just in the research that I did last night and today, they seem better than ones we've played probably in the past few years. So I don't remember the last closest game, but
Oh no, me neither. Well, according to Ken Palm, Cornell's ranked 168th with adjusted offense rank of 102 and adjusted defense rank of 262. So their defense, and judging by the 107 points Miami put up,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we got to be able to take advantage of that. And then they have Ken Palm's got us currently at 82 with an adjusted offense of 57, adjusted defense of 103. So that's when we look at the stats and you look at what it's been. Our offense is kind of. I was talking to my dad about it, and I said, you look at Judah and Joe and Jesse, they're probably going to get you between 45 and 55 points a game combined. And if you can play good defense, then all you need is another 15 combined, and you should get that W. At a minimum, obviously. But last night we got 52 from them, and then we get a little bit of help, but our defense wasn't good enough. So as far as what I've been seeing, we need to step up our defense. That's the biggest thing. And that's why you don't see Chris Bell playing. And that's why you see John Bowl and the likes of Malik Brown playing, because their defense is more important than the offense that they bring to the table.
And, we've been home. We're going to be home for 6 games. We're halfway through that stretch. And we get to continue with our ACC games at home. First 2 games at home. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I do want to get by Cornell though before I look at that. So
that's what you got to do.
Yeah, because our first road game's against Louisville, so and then Virginia. So I mean, look, I haven't watched any Pitt.
Louisville hasn't won a game yet.
So. Yeah, I know. I haven't. Yeah, I know. They're like 0-9 or something like that. Actually, it's probably more than that now. I haven't seen any Pitt. I haven't seen any Boston College, man. I know Louisville stinks. Okay, we get them at home. It's fine. But then it's Virginia at Virginia. So
yeah. No, Pittsburgh's 7-4. Louisville's 0-9. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it is 9. Okay, that's what I thought. I felt like they should have more games by now. I felt like that's what it was. Too long ago. So anyway, all right. I think that's going to be it for us.
Yeah.
I
Just got to get through it, man.
Yeah, we got to get through it. Now, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Sorry, no fan feedback today. Still gave you a solid hour, though. So, can't complain too much. Just a little pressed for time, and we had some football news to get into. So, it is what it is. But we'll be back here Sunday. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.